Welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us for this informational session on two newly announced grant programs, the Workforce Stipend and Loan Repayment programs. My name's Drew McCord, and I work in the Nebraska's Division of Children and Family Services. To, to kick things off, I'd like to share a brief message from our division's director, Stephanie Beasley.
My name is Stephanie Beasley. I'm the Division Director for Children and Family Services for the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, and I'm here with an exciting announcement. Child care workers provide a vital service for Nebraska's families. The Department of Health and Human Services deeply appreciates their hard work and wants to provide support. This is why DHHS is investing $66 million into child care workforce stabilization and expansion. This money is going to go to support child care workers by first creating a workforce stipend for current licensed child care providers and staff, and second, by designing student loan repayment grants. For more information about this wonderful investment in a critical support for Nebraska, please visit our website designed below. And for our child care workforce, please know how deeply we appreciate all your work and effort in providing quality childcare across our great state.
As Director Beasley stated, both of these programs are aimed at helping to offer support and investment in our state's child care and early education workforce, which, due to all your determination and hard work, has persevered through the COVID-19 health pandemic, but not without challenges. So today, I want to use our time during this session to provide you with information about what these programs are about, how you might apply and use these funds, and help figure out if you are eligible and review what you will need to complete your application. We will also carve out time for you to ask questions. We have an hour budgeted for this informational session. We will first cover the Workforce Stipend Grant Program and then move on to the Student Loan Repayment Grant Program. After, we will answer your questions. Before we get started, we'll do some quick introductions. Joining me today is Noelita Lugo.
Hello, my name is Noelita Lugo, and I'm glad to be here with you, Drew.
Before we jump into things, I want to make sure we are all aware of a couple important things. First, the DHHS website, where you can find program information, FAQs about these programs, and guidance on how to reach out for help. And for today's session, if you'd like to ask a question, you can use the chat feature. Noelita, can you share tips with us now for using the chat function?
Absolutely, Drew. So let me demonstrate how to engage with us using the chat feature on Webinar Ninja. So as you will see that on the right side of your screen, there's a chat function icon and a place to input questions at the bottom. You can simply type in your question into that chat feature, and as we go along, we will do our best to respond live, and that is as simple as it gets.
Great. Thanks, Noelita. To get us started, as many of you are aware, Nebraska continually seeks ways to invest in its child care network. We know that ensuring that our communities across the state have access to high quality, affordable, and accessible child care sector is not just the right thing to do, but that children, families, and our state's economic resilience depends on this. Some of you have already received assistance through our Child Care Stabilization Grant Program, which we implemented last year. Today, we'll focus our attention on two new grant programs. As you will see from the chart, I also want to share that we will be announcing another child care grant program soon. These programs were funded with the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, and the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, or CRSA, federal dollars which were awarded to states to assist child care organizations. I will now hand it over to Noelita to talk about the Workforce Stipend Program.
Thanks, Drew. The goal of this grant program is to support and recognize Nebraska's child care workforce quickly and efficiently. So first, let's talk about who can apply. This program is open to Nebraska residents who are currently employed by a licensed child care facility in the state. Being in the direct teaching role is not required. All applicants must have worked within the child care sector for at least 6 months, current and continuous months. Continuous employment does not need to be with the same employer. Full-time, meaning 30 plus hours a week, and part-time, meaning 15 plus hours a week, child care staff can apply. And next, how can you use this award? These funds are being provided as stipends, or a sum of money similar to a bonus, which will be awarded to eligible applicants to support and recognize their work in our state's child care industry. And remember, grants do not need to be paid back. As for the grant awards, award amounts have not yet been determined, but we can share that decisions will be based on 4 factors: an applicant's role in the field, longevity in the field, full versus part-time status, and shift work. In order to help better explain this, I'll spend a little time talking through the graphic you see in front of you. So first, in terms of an applicant's role, those applicants who work in a teaching or caregiving capacity, directly with children, in other words, will be given a larger award than, say, support staff, such as those who may be working in a cleaning capacity, food service, or other kind of role where you are not directly interacting with infants or children. As part of this program, we also want to reward long-term workers. And so you will see that applicants who have more longevity in the field will be given a larger award amount than those with less time in the field. Similarly, those applicants who work full-time, again, that's 30 plus hours a week, will be given a larger award than those who work part-time, in this case, 15 hours or more a week. Lastly, we would like to recognize those workers who may work night and or weekend shifts. So these individuals will be given a larger award amount than those who work day shifts. And next, how can you use this award? These funds are being provided to relieve eligible child care workers of their student loan debt. Grant awards do not need to be paid back. As for the award amounts, just as with the other program, there are criteria we are using to recognize differences between applicants. We have not yet made final decisions about the award amounts, but I will talk through how we are thinking about making those decisions. As you will see, will be larger for those applicants that have a more advanced degree. For instance, applicants that may have completed a master's degree will be eligible for a larger award than those whose highest degree completed is a bachelor's, associate's, or certificate program. This grant program is also open to those who have started yet not completed their certification or degree program. An applicant will be eligible for an award if they have student loan debt in repayment status and have worked a minimum of 1 year in child care. As I just mentioned, a great thing about this program is that you do not need to have completed your degree or certificate program to be eligible. However, if that is the case, then there are some work requirements in place. All applicants who have completed some classes in pursuit of a degree or certificate program or apprenticeship and have worked at least 12 months in a Nebraska licensed child care facility are eligible. And all applicants who have completed degrees related to their child care work and have worked at least 6 months are eligible. So what are degrees or certificate programs that are considered to be related to childcare? Some examples include early childhood education, behavioral sciences, elementary education, family and consumer services education, human development and family science, infant and toddler certificates, psychology, social sciences, social work, sociology, special education, and youth development. A full list of degrees can be found in the program's frequently asked questions. Now that we've shared some information about these programs, I will now share some key points about applying. First, the application period for both grant programs is December 5th, 2022 until January 11th, 2023. There's just one application for both grant programs. As for what you will need, I will now walk through a list of documents. First, a valid Nebraska driver's license or state ID. Your NECBRS ID for child care staff in teaching roles. Your employer information, including facility license number, type of facility, your supervisor's name and contact information, your salary or wage information, types of benefits that you may be receiving from your employer, for example, health insurance or paid leave. You will also need financial institution information so that if you do receive a workforce stipend award, we can transmit that payment via direct deposit. So you'll need to have your account information, your routing number, and a voided check. Student loan information will also be needed, so you'll want to have handy documented proof of loan amounts and repayment information. You'll also want to have with you your school transcripts or other proof of enrollment or degree completion. Great. So we've covered a lot of information, but now I'd like to spend some time providing everyone a chance to see how the application process for these programs work. To do this, I'm going to play a video clip which will show you just what you'll need to do. All right, now we will demonstrate how to apply. After clicking on the application link, you will visit this page and you will see the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services logo in the top left corner. Nebraska Workforce and Loan Application. This is a draft for demonstration purposes. The live application will have additional information right below the title of the application. We will now click on the Apply button. You will receive a prompt that says log in or create an account. If you have not created an account, which most or all of you have not, please click Create a New Account. In the email field, please enter an email where we can reach you. Do not use your work email, use a personal email that you check frequently. There will be communication sent to you, and it will be sent to the email that you use to register. Now that we've entered the email address, click Next. I will now enter a testing name. And a testing last name. At this point, you will select a password that you can remember. So here we see in front of us a confirmation of statements. This is the attestation. So please read this carefully. It is important that you read every statement before moving to the next step. Once you have read all the statements carefully, click Accept. Now you are on the first page of the application itself. Again, as you are completing each page of the website, please read all statements carefully and thoroughly. Here we see that the statement says you must be at least 18 years of age and a Nebraska resident, currently working in a Nebraska licensed child care facility to be eligible. If you do not meet these criteria, we encourage you to continue completing the application in the event that eligibility criteria change. At the bottom of your internet screen or internet browser on this page, you will see a Next button. You will see a Back button. You will also see a magnifying glass icon and a Save and Quit and a Submit button. Because we are on the first page, we will now click Next. Here again, we will enter our name. We will click Next. Here I will enter a middle initial, and then for demonstration purposes, I'm entering that as a last name. As you complete each field, please click Next. You may see a pop-up that says pubnode.submit.com wants to know your location. You can click Allow. Here I will enter. And as you see that as I'm entering the address, a drop-down list appears. I will select this first address, again, for demonstration purposes. Now that we have selected the address, we click Next. Here it asks, do you have a valid Nebraska ID? Keep in mind, you must have a valid Nebraska ID or driver's license to be eligible to apply. Here I will click Yes. You will also notice that right below the question and response, you will see a box that says, this question is required. That message will appear on any question that is a required field for your information. After we enter the state ID number or driver's license number, you will see a page that asks you to upload an image or PDF of your identification. Please note the types of files that are accepted for upload: PDF, JPEG, GIF, BMP, and PNG. After you've uploaded your identification, you will then complete the date of birth information. You will also see on the right-hand side, if you're using a laptop or a tablet with this visibility, you will see on the right-hand side the various questions that remain to be answered. The application will ask for your Social Security number. It'll ask if you're a U.S. citizen or qualified alien under the Federal Immigration and Nationality Act, contact information, race, ethnicity, gender. Then it will go to Section 2, Employment Information. You will complete that section and then go to Section 3, Additional Information. Section 4 asks for educational information, and Section 5 asks for financial information. I will now demonstrate two options that applicants have to apply. If you find yourself needing to take a pause and return to the application at a later time, please select this option on your bottom toolbar that says Save and Quit. After hitting save, you will notice that you will then see the home page again, the landing page. You will also see this message that says you have an existing draft. So that will be the application that you were in the process of completing. If you wish to return to the application, you would go to the application link provided to you or that you went to by visiting the DHHS website. Again, for demonstration purposes, I will click on this. You may have your settings on your browser established so that you automatically log in. I'm going to hit save and quit again and demonstrate another option. So I've saved and quit the application. I walked away. Perhaps I needed to get more information to complete the application. So I've gathered that information. I am now ready to return to the application that I started. You'll see this page, this landing page, and the information. You'll see two options, register or sign in. Of course, because we've already registered a profile, you will click sign in. You will also notice in the right upper hand corner, sign in and register. You can click on either sign in on the top bar or the sign in button in the middle of your screen. Again, for demonstration purposes, we will enter in the testing email address that we used to create our profile. Those pop-ups that you just saw are pop-ups that are driven by the particular internet browser that I use. You very well may not see those pop-ups. It all depends on how your particular browser is established and set up for you. So now we see this landing page and it asks if you want to view callouts. We will click on that button and you will now see your draft application. Click on that link. Now you're on this landing page and you'll click the continue button. After you've completed the application, let's imagine that we have, then I will hit the submit button. You will be asked this question, submit your application. If you wish to confirm, you click submit. Now notice that in this scenario, because I have not completed all of the required questions, it brings me back to the question that was unanswered, but is required for completion. After you've completed all the questions and you've clicked on submit, you will then see an acknowledgement and certifications. Again, please be sure to carefully read each of these statements. You will also see a note that says, by continuing with this application, you are agreeing that you have read and understand the acknowledgements above. After you've read all statements, understood all statements, click I have read and confirm the above. Now you will see application submitted. You will see the name of the application you completed, and you will see information immediately below. You will receive a confirmation email upon submission of your application. Please click Finish. You will go back to the main page. You will see your application number, and you will want to go to the upper right-hand corner, click on your name, and click Sign Out. Now you are done. And before I hand it over to Drew again, I'm sure you are wondering, how will I know if I've received an award? Grant award decisions will be announced via email. And as for payments, there is a unique approach for each program. For the Workforce Stipend program, payments will be made via direct deposit. For the Student Loan Repayment program, payments will be made to the financial institution or institutions that hold the loan. And now, Drew, back to you.
Thanks, Noelita. I would just add one more thing before we move on to our question and answer session, and that is how applicants can get help along the way or learn more about these programs. First, you can visit the DHHS website where we will have all program information readily accessible and up to date. While you're there, you can also visit our frequently asked question page for these programs. And if you'd like to talk with someone, you can call our helpline or you can also send an email.
Thanks, Drew. We will now spend more time addressing any questions you have about these grant programs. And as a reminder, you can simply use the chat feature to ask your question. Let me show you once again what that looks like. So on your screen, you should see on the right-hand side a box similar to what you see here with the yellow highlight. So look for the icon with the two talking bubbles, or the bubbles that look like they are for chat. When you click on that, you will then see at the bottom, so you'll see that highlighted rectangular bar. That is where you can type in your question, your comment, any information that you either want to ask or share. And for folks who may have joined us midway, there are a few reminders that I'd like to go over. So first of all, as we mentioned earlier, the Workforce Stipend Grant Program, when you think about how the awards will be determined, we do not have the specific details about a formula or a specific number. However, do keep in mind that as applications come in, you will see that for those individuals who are applying for that workforce stipend grant, if they work at a Nebraska licensed child care facility and they provide direct services to children, so think in-class instruction, in-class care, and if they work full-time, which is 30 hours or more a week, then those applicants will receive larger amounts, larger grant award amounts, compared to someone who perhaps has more of a support role in the child care facility, perhaps works part-time hours, so maybe 15 hours, so 15 to 29 hours a week. A good example might be, say you're a custodial staff person who works in and for a child care center. You can certainly apply for this grant. This grant is for you. And just, again, keep in mind that depending on different variables that are assessed or looked at as we review applications, those variables will influence the award amounts. And now a reminder about the student loan repayment program. Let me see here. Okay. So as for award amounts, just like with the workforce stipend, there are going to be criteria that are used to recognize the differences between applicants. So we have not yet made final decisions about the award amounts or calculations or the formula. However, As you can see from the screen in front of you, larger amounts will go towards applicants who have more advanced degrees compared to individuals who have, let's say, a bachelor's, associate's, or certificate program. So the grant is also open to those who have started but not yet completed their certificate or their degree program. But all of those variables will influence how much the grant award amount is per applicant. All right, and now let's review a little bit of some information about what you will need when you apply for the stipend, the workforce stipend, or the loan repayment grant. So of course, a couple of key pieces of information that we want to repeat, again, for anyone who may have joined midway or afterwards. Applications for this grant opportunity will be open from December 5th, 2022 through January 11th, 2023. So that's December 5th through January 11th. And there is one application for both grants. So when you apply, you can get into the application. We've done a demonstration of that earlier in the presentation. So you get into the application, fill out the questions, and you can be eligible based on your particular characteristics and eligibility. And so you can apply for that in one application. In terms of specific documents or information that you'll want to have with you when you are completing that application, be sure to have a valid Nebraska driver's license or state ID. You will also, if you are a teacher, teacher's assistant, in that direct teaching role in childcare, you'll want to have your NECPRS ID. So that's NECPRS, and we'll show you a letter in just a moment. So you'll have that NECPRS ID with you. You'll also want your employer information. So here's where you'll want to be prepared ahead of time, right? Have your child care facility's license number. That's the state issued license number. Be sure to know what type of facility you are working at. Is it an in-home facility? Is it a child care facility, home level 1 or level 2? So you'll be able to get that information from your employer. You'll also want to have your supervisor's name and contact information, and then your salary, so your annual earnings. Be sure that you provide, when you're entering that information, be sure to provide your gross salary. Or if you are paid hourly, be sure to have that information readily available. You'll also want to have information regarding any benefits that you receive. So for example, if you're employed with a child care facility and you are eligible to receive health insurance and you receive health insurance through your employer, then you would want to have information related to that readily available while you're completing the application. Another piece of information will be your financial institution information. So your bank, your credit union, whatever institution you use to store your finances. So that information specifically will need to be the routing number for your financial institution and your specific account number. And then we will also ask that you have a voided check, and you will need to upload that voided check. And then lastly, in terms of the student loan information that you'll need if you are applying for the student loan grant program, please have on you the documented proof of the loan amounts, repayment information, school transcripts or other proof of enrollment or completion of a certificate program or a degree. And one other reminder. So as we mentioned previously, please do visit the DHHS website so you can see both the QR code and the web address. So if you have a smartphone with you, as you're watching this, you can access your camera, point your camera lens to the QR code on your screen, and it should automatically kind of connect and identify the website address. And so you can click on there, and then it will take you directly to the DHHS website regarding these grant opportunities. Another thing that you'll find on that website is the frequently asked questions, so FAQ. We also have a helpline set up for you, so please visit the website so you can get more information about the helpline, what number to call, hours of operation, that sort of thing. And then you can also contact us via email. So that will be NE underscore, excuse me one moment. So that will be NE underscore child underscore care underscore grants at pubno.com. All right, so let's open it up for questions. And let's see here. I'm going to go back a few slides. There we go. All right, so as we continue to receive and respond to questions in the chat, I'll go over a couple of questions that we've been hearing and some information in response to those questions. So one is folks might be wondering, as they get into the application, there is an attestation. So several statements that you will need to attest to. So you'll need to indicate that you've read them and understand them. Some folks may wonder why that attestation is needed. So of course, several reasons. First, it's really important for applicants to thoroughly read the attestation statements. So rather than just checking through the boxes and clicking to the next page, really do kind of pause and read each of the statements and then attest to having read and understood those. The other, another reason why this is important is as you're reading those attestations, essentially you're agreeing to comply with the grant agreement requirements and conditions. So that's going to include things like complying with federal laws. These funds are federally provided to the state to be distributed to eligible applicants. Give me one moment. There we go. The other piece of information related to the attestation forms is agreeing to public reporting of your award information as part of the state of Nebraska's public transparency and accounting. So in fact, all states that are distributing these types of federal grants to individuals who are eligible, all of those states must complete a quarterly report, which means that each state then asks those individuals who've received a grant award, the state asks them for reporting information. Another question that we've received is there an appeals process? So say, for example, you apply, perhaps the award amount is not what you were anticipating. So folks may be wondering again, is there an appeals process? What would you do if you disagree with the award or the eligibility determination? So the application process does not include an appeals procedure. So applicants will need to provide all the requested documents as part of their application package when they hit submit. So there is no kind of appeals process. Whatever information you provide when you hit that submit button to to send us your application, that's the information that we will use to determine both your eligibility and your award amount. So no appeals process there. All right, another reminder, some folks might be wondering, well, since these are federal dollars, do these grant awards need to be repaid? No, you do not need to repay these grant funds, so long as you comply with the terms and conditions of the program. DHHS will conduct a post-award review, and repayment will be required if inaccurate or false information was provided, or other applicable instances of non-compliance. So that might be situations where, perhaps someone who knew they were not eligible applied and somehow was able to get their application all the way through, and at first may have seemed like they were eligible, possibly received funds, right? If they received funds and the state later finds that that individual was not eligible, or perhaps was not eligible for the amount of the grant award that they received, then those would be instances where action would be taken to kind of determine how to get those funds back, since that person was not eligible, or again, perhaps they received more grant dollars than they should have. But beyond that, outside of those rare instances, and hopefully we won't have any, you do not have to worry about whether or not you need to repay the grant funds. You do not. Another common question that we've received is about the tax implications. So folks might be wondering again, why or will the grant award be considered taxable income? So according to the IRS, certain federal assistance awarded to businesses and individuals is considered taxable income. So we really encourage you to kind of consult whoever your financial advisor is, or your tax preparer, contacting them, talking through the situation as it pertains to your specific award and award amount, so that you can know what those tax implications are. A few quick reminders. You can stay up to date by visiting the DHHS website, where we will share updates. A link to the grant application will be available on that website. Applications will be accepted December 5th, 2022 through January 11th, 2023. For questions, you can check the program FAQs on the DHHS website or call the helpline. Thank you for joining us today.